Namaste. I am Gloria Grace Rand, and today we've got a guest on the podcast. I am joined by Angela Jones-Taul. I am pronouncing that right, I hope. Okay, good. I forgot to ask you that before we got on the air. I just want to make sure that. So welcome. And Angela is a licensed massage therapist, which is a wonderful profession, and owner of Pura Touch Massage Center in Maysville, Kentucky. She's an active participant in her church and a leader for their Celebrate Recovery group, which is cool. I might ask you about that in a little bit. And Angela has a strong desire to be an inspirational voice for girls, young ladies, and women of all cultures. And she's going to have her debut book, good for you, The Mirror of Inner Beauty, will be released in the spring of 2020. And I know that you are also a part of another book, and this is a compilation called Women Standing Strong Together, and that's how we actually connected, because I know one of the other authors in that book. And this is a book about surrendering to your authentic self, and it's going to be available for sale December 29th. So you can't get it yet, but you will be able to get it then on Amazon. So welcome, Miss Awesome Person.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The reason I got to know Angela a little bit is because I had, as I mentioned, I also know one of the other authors, and I agreed to be part of the launch party. And so I got a sneak peek at the manuscript before it was even ready. And I got to read Angela's submission. And I really liked it because it's unique in that you included poetry. So what made you decide to do that?
When the co-publisher of the book approached me about submitting my story, I had just finished with my manuscript for my solo book, and I was like, wore out about writing, and I was like, I don't really want to write anymore. But she had gave the suggestion, whatever you want to, add, maybe even poetry or something, and that just kind of struck me. And I had recently been. That's how I've been able to express myself more, is through the poetry. It flows easier for me when I'm just trying to write it. I overthink everything, but the poetry, you really can't critique that much. So, because it's how you expressing yourself. So there was no need to overthink anything. It was what was truly coming from my heart. So it was just an awesome feeling to be able to put those words down and not even really like, oh, wow, that just flowed so easily. So that was just great to be able to submit it that way.
Yeah, I love it when that happens, when things just flow like that. Mm-hmm. And I think it is divinely inspired, I think. And, I think that's when that happens. And so you've been on a bit of a spiritual journey a little bit. What has that looked like, and what has that given you?
I think for any of us, but for me especially, we try to fight our way as to what our inner self is trying to tell us to do. We get caught up in whatever shame, guilt, or fears that we might have, and that overshadows our lives. Mm-hmm. And I have always been spiritually inclined, and I just kind of pushed that away with all the worldly things that are going on, and I kind of lost track of who I truly was. Mm-hmm. So just the past couple of years, I've had some tremendous growth in identifying with myself again and finding my authentic self, and it feels great to really own up to who I am and just being myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like the title of your book is interesting, The Mirror of Inner Beauty. So what is that about?
It's my personal journey of me going through the different stages that I've gone to reach this growth that I'm in now. I had some early childhood trauma and different things that I experienced some sexual abuse. I had a teenage pregnancy, failed relationships, and all that just kind of overpowered me and made me feel less than, not worthy.
Yeah.
And finally getting to this point where I do know that I am enough and that I am worthy, and seeing that a lot of women are experiencing those same feelings, regardless of what their situation may be. We can all relate in some way. And I was like, I just want to be able to tell my story, and if it just helps one person, then I've accomplished a lot. So
yeah, that's great. And you're right. I mean, I do think that a lot of us have those feelings for some reason, and I know they've studies and researchers have shown a lot of it, how is things that happen in our childhood. And it's interesting, and at least as I've gotten older and seem to have become aware of that nobody is perfect. It seems like everybody has some stuff that's gone on. Even people who maybe they had really good childhood, but there was still something that has come up someplace, maybe in school or something, that there was something that triggered, and we wound up with those feelings. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast, because I want to help people to really realize that, like you said, you are enough, you are worthy, you can have a wonderful life. And sometimes it just requires putting the work in. So how have you been able to do that work? I mean, did you just, is it just part of your, going to church, or did you actually work with anybody or do any types of workshops or anything? What has helped you?
It was a combination of like all of those things. I really had to get back into church because that's where my roots are, and I had to be okay with that and not let other people's influences, keep me from stirring me away from that. And then, I mean, I also had to seek out traditional therapy to help with some of those issues, but I also took the non-traditional route and found myself a life coach. And she really helped me see some things that the traditional way, psychiatrist, what have you, counselor, really wouldn't dig into to see. So she really kind of got real with me, which for some of us that's what it takes.
Yeah.
And just working through her program, she helped me to really, dig deep, stretch myself. Right. And because honestly, I never would have thought in a million years I would be writing a book or even collaborating with 11 other wonderful women on another book. So when you really start to believe in yourself and let go of those patterns that you get used to, there's so much that you can accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you had told me that I would be doing a podcast about spirituality, 2 years ago, I'd have said, no, you're crazy. I mean, I've been doing online marketing for 10 years. And so, but it was the same thing. I started going through some workshops. I was working with coaches, and it seemed like spirituality was something that kept coming up that I needed to explore deep in my relationship with God. And it's made all the difference in the world. So that's cool. So where do you see yourself going forward? Like, what does 2020 look like besides the release of your book? What else are you planning to do next year?
I am really looking forward to being an inspirational speaker. So I'm working with actually the same coach to help me get prepared for a speaking engagement, and hopefully by either the spring or the summer, host a women's conference, empowerment conference here where I live, or possibly in another city or somewhere. So those are my goals.
Well, awesome. Well, if I can support you in any of that, please count on me. I would love to be able to help you with that. So
thank you.
Yeah. Well, if someone would like to get a hold of you, what is the best way? Are you on social media or anything, or if someone wants to find out more about the book, and how can they do that?
I haven't gotten my website together yet, but they're free to email me at angelashines@yahoo.com, and I will respond back to any questions that anyone might have.
All right, awesome. Well, that's great. And I look forward to your book as well as the compilation. And again, it's called Women Standing Strong Together, and it will be on sale December 29th. And actually let me know when your book goes on sale too, because I can even update the show notes and
Oh,
and I'll
okay.
put that on, because this will go on my website as well. So
Okay.
we'll get the word out for you for that as well. So and for everyone listening today as well, if you would do me a favor and subscribe to the podcast, whether you are listening on iTunes or Spreaker, or you're watching me here on YouTube, that would be wonderful, because that way you won't miss out on our next episodes. And if you can leave us a review as well, that would be great. And so until next time, I wish you all much peace, love, and prosperity.
Thank you.